It definitely has like an 80s TV theme vibe to it.
And we get tagged every single week.
Every time. It's
Somebody
totally
claims ownership, and do I have to go through this again? I gave up last week.
You gave up. You're like,
yeah, I'm not going to keep
it
doing
wasn't
it.
that good. Nobody needs to see it in reruns.
Well, no, they don't block the show. They just mute the opening.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not as bad, I guess. But they should mute this part because this is the worst part.
That's true.
It's the EriDan Film Festival for Monday, February 19th, 2024, episode 191. Yeah.
How about 191?
191 times. Is that right? Yeah, that is. 191 times we have gathered together to talk about
191. That's how you would say it if you're working at an auction.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0.
Ah, look at you.
Now, I don't know if that's sign language, but that's what they use at the auction.
I don't think that's sign language. But that's something.
Adam's here, but only in comments tonight.
That's all right. And apparently the EriDan Live link is not working for everybody. So if you're having trouble getting in, and you're part of the regular crew, I'm sending a link in through the chat.
I can put the link in the regular thing too.
You could do that. Yeah. So we want you to join us. And so if EriDan Live is not working for you, check out the comments section in whatever browser you're using, and then click that sucker and that way.
It's working for most people though, because that's how we have people on.
Well, a
lot of times if it's not working for you, the problem is you're in a browser that is still remembering last week's.
I think it's the cache. Yeah,
it's the cache. So go into an incognito, an incognito window, and it will come up. Or use a different browser.
Or just don't join. We want you to join. We want everybody to join tonight. We're going to talk about Ford versus Ferrari.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
It's like a car movie. I think Rafi and I talked about this.
That movie. We're going to hear Dan's big movie choice, which I didn't make an intro for. And and we're going to pick who gets to pick the double feature for 2 weeks from now. This is a huge night. This is huge.
And next week's going to have to be on a Tuesday.
And next week is a Tuesday. What is happening?
I'll be on an airplane. So for my movie, I can't be on an airplane.
That's crazy town. It's ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, does that work? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe it does. I don't know.
Depends on who you pick.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Dave. This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
Well, I'm getting a tooth extracted next Monday, so that'll give me one more day to recover.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, I had that last Monday.
Wait till you find out what Dan's movie is. You'll think you're going to get tooth extracted then. Okay.
Can I be sedated for this, please?
Are you going to get sedated, or are you going to get laughing gas? What are you going to get?
I don't even know. I assume we'll just use a local.
Yeah, I just used a local. It was weird. I told you this last thing. The assistant was tapping on the shoulder as the dentist was like twisting and turning, and I thought they were doing that trick thing where they reach around. I was like, "Are you doing that?"
Oh, the reach around,
Eric.
It's not nice.
No. Speaking of nice.
Look at this.
You never get tagged for that.
Campaign.
That's our Valentine a week late.
Yeah. Wow, and you're spending it with us.
You invited us.
I do have to say, happy birthday again on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I think I had 9 friends on Facebook whose birthday was on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
That must be the biggest day. I think of all the people I know on Facebook, Valentine's Day is the biggest one.
Wow. It's just me and my cousin that I know. And we have the same birthday.
It's always possible that some of these people, when they sign up for Facebook, they fibbed about their birthday.
Yeah, I did not.
I just thought of that. Well, I know. Yours has always been that day.
That's right.
your whole life.
Exactly.
Since almost since you were born.
Exactly.
born-
Almost.
I said,
Hello.
Hello.
She was born. Hey,
I
hello.
was born. Yeah, look at that. Great.
How are you on this lovely, fine Monday evening?
Great. Yeah.
You're great. Yeah. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear
Talk
it.
about cars.
He's
Favorite
not
topic, is it
excited.
not?
What?
This is your favorite topic, as I recall.
Oh yeah, big car. Big
Oh
car.
yeah.
But doesn't the Italian help make up for it?
Oh, very much. I very much enjoyed. Trying to translate the Italian. That was fun. That was a major plus.
That's awesome. Did it make sense to you?
I can now say cheap whore in Italian. I didn't know how to say that before, so that's pretty fun.
Well, you don't want to visit the country without knowing how to say that.
Yeah, no, it's important. Yeah.
So does that mean it's a cultural movie then?
There you go. Yeah.
now, Eric, should we just do the car yada opening for this show?
Oh yeah, we might as well, since we're going to be talking cars all night. You guys are
Let's
so
just do the
excited
car yada
about
opening.
cars. I know.
Here we go.
All right. Selfishly
it's like a car
promoting
show.
your other show.
Every Saturday, 10 a.m.
Are you back to every
Join us.
Saturday now for real? For real?
We've been every Saturday except when I'm out of town or Rafi's out of town or
So
something.
unless you get a better offer.
Yeah.
Nice. But it's not car yada. It's movie time.
No.
Ah,
Right.
Wow.
Why did that happen? There you go.
there it is. Thank you very much. Ford versus Ferrari from 2019, PG-13. Matt Damon, Christian Bale, and a bunch of other names I don't know. Directed by James Mangold, and it took the Butterworth brothers and Jason Keller to write this thing. $98 million budget, worldwide gross of $226 million. The critics at a 92, the audience at a 98. So much love for this movie. Wade, why do you love this movie?
So when this movie was coming out, I have a friend of mine who lives in Phoenix who is a really big Ford fan. And so he was kind of excited about it. So I was texting him back and forth. And actually, I got to go see it before he did because it came out here before, at
Oh,
night.
no.
And he didn't even see it the opening night anyways.
Oh, loser.
Whatever. So I took Reagan out. I was just, I wanted to go see it, but I wasn't like super crazy about it. And actually, we got there a little late. And we sat up towards the front, which was really cool with the race scenes and you're being that close to the screen. It was pretty awesome. So if you get a chance, Reagan's favorite car was the blue one at the very beginning, the very first one they raced around the airport.
Oh.
So if you
So
have
Reagan's sitting like right there. She's just never on the show anymore. Is that what happens?
She's like a director, And,
She's off camera now.
Yeah.
She's behind the camera.
She's giving them notes.
So it was really good how it was like, I mean, it's a true story, so you kind of know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
But they did a really good job of building up to it and bringing it all out and even having it suspenseful towards the end.
Yeah, we did make a point of when we watched it turning off the TV sound and putting on the surround speakers because they made good use of that during the race scenes. You could hear things really moving around.
Yeah.
Cool.
Even during the opening credits, you just hear.
And it was funny when we went to see it. There was a whole bunch of ladies older than me there to go see it, and they're all talking about their Mustangs and all this stuff on the way out.
Oh man.
So, but I thought it was pretty good. Kind of had some sports in it, cars in it. I think it had a little bit of everything for everybody. Italian and a helicopter.
And some airplanes, yeah.
It did have some airplanes.
Now, what's interesting in other countries, it was not known as Ford versus Ferrari. It was known as Le
Lamont.
Mans 66.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did love the Lee Iacocca quote that I posted in the channel, though, because as Amanda was messaging me while she was watching it, she says, it's not bad, but I don't know, paraphrasing what she said, Henry Ford is such a jerk that she's finding it hard to root for the Ford side.
Yeah, exactly. True.
Yeah, that was specifically.
Oh,
I think I messaged you like half an hour or 45 minutes in. I was like, I do not want this side to win. I feel like
Well, the corporate machine,
Yes.
now, of course, if you read the Wikipedia and stuff like that, they did enhance a lot of that
Sure.
to
Of
make some
course.
drama.
yeah.
It certainly, from what I've read, it wasn't really so much because you saw in that one scene where he's demanding to know exactly what Enzo Ferrari said, and he's
Yeah.
he tells all the
Yeah.
insults and everything, and finally says, and he said, "You're not Henry Ford, you're Henry Ford II." And you can just see, and I love this acting job. The guy who was playing Henry Ford II, the way his face just very subtly changed when he
Yes.
heard that line. You could just see the wheels clicking, like, I am going to rip this guy's heart out no matter what I have to spend and what I have to do. But what I read was, he was angry. And that was partly why he went whole hog into racing. But he was mostly angry because they spent millions of dollars on auditing and due diligence to try to acquire Ferrari, only to have Ferrari walk away at the last minute.
Mhm.
And that was, I think, what ticked them off more than any personal insult.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah, I liked his acting job. Tracy Letts, I think, played him. And when when Shelby took him out and put him in the car,
Yeah.
and he's crying.
I had no idea.
Well, and he's crying because, all that force, all that G force or whatever you want to call it, whatever it is, I could get that. It's like being in an accident.
So what's interesting is that from the truth, it turns out that Miles was the one that took Ford out and raced him around in the car, and there is no reference to him actually crying in real life.
Yeah.
But it was still good. In the movie.
Yeah.
He actually crapped his pants.
Well, there you go.
No,
That's funny.
Yeah. I kind of like the non-English name better, just because I felt like in the middle of the movie, I was like, Ferrari is playing no part in this for most of this movie. Like, it was the initial impetus, and there was a little bit like during the race at the end, but it was mostly just like the progression of the one team. Like, we didn't really see what Ferrari was doing for most of the movie.
No.
No,
it really isn't Ford versus Ferrari as much.
I love the line
versus Ford.
I love the line when they first showed up at Le Mans with the G40 or the G, and was it Shelby who said, "Well, if this is a beauty contest, we've already lost." Because those Ferraris are just absolutely gorgeous machines.
and their artwork.
Yeah.
Absolutely handmade, completely handmade.
Sadly, Lee
Ford is
Iacocca,
the very definition of mass production. I mean, it's in Henry Ford's name. I mean,
except for the GT is I mean, they make a handful every year by hand.
Yep.
You can still get them, which
They
is,
make
I
a
mean,
handful
they sell
by
for
hand?
millions. What's that?
They make a handful by hand.
there you go.
A handful
A handful
by hand.
by hand. Okay, I'm just making sure. It's a lot of hands on the car. I'm just saying.
There are a lot of hands.
First person to take
I mean, those
car. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I've seen those at auctions for $2-3 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yikes.
Oh, and they went on to win 4 years in a row, as they said in the end. But the interesting thing was they changed the rules after the second year to limit you to 3-liter displacement. But they had an exception if you produced more than, I can't remember what the number was, threshold of vehicles for the commercial market, because then it was no longer a prototype. It was considered a production car. So they actually switched back to the Mark I car or the Mark II car again for the last 2 wins, because the one that they used in the second win was no longer eligible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, sadly, I noticed Lee Iacocca died at the age of 94, 4 months before the movie came out.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and if you're my age, I mean, I knew Lee Iacocca had been let go by Ford and went to work for Chrysler, but if you're a child of the 70s and 80s, you remember Lee Iacocca with buy a car, get a check. The creator of the K cars and the minivan and the rebates.
K cars.
I mean, that was what he was known for. He saved Chrysler, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
And the
what
K
I
car was going to be
saying.
called.
Go ahead.
They were going to call it the S car, but they didn't want to say, look at that S car go.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So,
That's actually partially true.
so in the
It's either true or it's not. It can't be partially.
I agree with Adam that it was. I think it could have been trimmed down
Yeah.
a bit without losing anything.
The last hour is the race.
Yeah.
And I get the director was saying how, he wanted the movie not to be like an 8-minute montage of the race at the end.
Mhm.
But I feel like there should have been a way to cut it somewhere.
There's a middle ground between an 8-minute montage and the entire race.
Yeah.
I don't disagree that for general audiences, maybe that was a bit long, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that last hour.
Yeah.
It held my attention. And I also read that it wasn't quite. They made it look in the movie like Miles crossed the line thinking he had won, only to find out in a post-race ruling that he hadn't, when that's not what happened.
Oh, good.
He was, well, they were told before they went out for their last leg, that when they changed drivers, that they wanted them to cross the finish line together. And either he deliberately slowed down at the last minute, or McLaren deliberately slowed up at the last minute, so they didn't go across quite together. McLaren beat him across the line.
Okay.
Yeah, they did not go over like in sync like they all did.
Yeah.
They were very close, but it wasn't quite like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes me feel better that it wasn't like orchestrated by Leo and.
Oh no, it was.
No, but I mean, like to the extent so that he lost that it was actually one of them sped up or slowed down. I'd rather it was that than a ruling because they screwed something up because of it.
Yeah, I have no idea if the BB character, who was really, Ford was portrayed as a jerk, but the BB character was the villain. If you would have a villain in it, I don't know if he was a real person or not. I mean, like Iacocca and Ford obviously were, but I don't know about him.
He is a real person. Whether he was a jerk, I don't know.
He became like the racing division guy. But still.
Yeah.
The interesting thing was Christian Bale was actually originally cast to play Enzo Ferrari in the Ferrari movie that just came out last year. And Michael Mann, he decided not to do it. Michael Mann cast Hugh Jackman, and something happened where he decided not to do it because it was Adam Driver ended up playing the part.
Yes.
Really?
But it could have been Christian Bale. That would have been interesting to have him play the old version of Ferrari.
Yeah.
Or it's actually a younger version of Ferrari.
Yeah.
It would have been Christian Bale playing it.
Interesting.
There you go. There's your.
Yeah, you never know with a movie like this how much of it is history and how much of it is fiction.
Right.
Because there's some of both.
Right. Well, and they want to hit certain notes,
Exactly.
know, and whether to get the general feeling of what happened.
Right.
Because apparently nobody locked that guy in an office.
Well, and I think the reason that they, instead of, the negotiating for a long time only to have Ferrari walk away, the reason they did it with the personal insult was you can tell that story very quickly. That he's personally insulted and his hubris and his ego won't let that go unpunished, as opposed to the sort of less sexy story of, just walking away from a business deal.
And it's a great scene. It's a great scene where,
Yeah, like when
John Barenthal
kind of like doesn't want to say stuff, and then eventually, I think Lee Iacocca is just like, yeah, I get the point. So,
but Iacocca, I mean, he would appear in all those Chrysler ads. He was all over TV.
Oh yeah,
for a while.
I remember that.
That's what I kept saying. That I knew him. I felt like I knew him as opposed to anybody else. Henry Ford, you don't know anything about him. I don't.
He used to be a frequent. Johnny Carson used to make fun of Lee Iacocca in his monologues all the time about the whole, buy a car, get a check thing.
Yep. See, I don't remember what he said, but I remember his face being on the commercials.
So, I assume Johnny Carson probably owned a Ferrari, right?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, he was a Corvette guy.
He's a Corvette. That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And a DeLorean guy. He was an investor in DeLorean.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But he might have had a Ferrari also, but he was really big in Corvettes.
Yeah. So he didn't have a Ford GT though, right?
No, yeah, this is a funny scene.
Yeah, it is.
There are some.
I love when he reaches for the can and changes his mind and picks up the bread.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love her.
And I love she's
Watch.
like, I'm just gonna watch this.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then they start reminiscing about the last time they had a fight.
Yeah, there's definitely some nice moments that help break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those movies that's it is long, and it's one of those movies that you could just sort of put on and let run because it is pleasant enough. But again, it's not one of these movies that requires like, ooh, don't look away or you'll be lost. And it's like it's a relatively straightforward plot line that even if you were to walk out of the room for 10 minutes and come back in, you would pretty much know what's going on in the movie.
Yeah, I like the scene where his wife was mad at him and driving like crazy, and he's
Oh yeah, absolutely.
finally pulls over and he goes, "Yeah, he wants to pay me $200 a day," and she's like,
"What? Crazy?" It's definitely a pleasant movie. Outside of the death and the death and crashing and the
Well, the funny thing is the sort of Miles walking away from this and getting a steady job, and his wife then being upset when it looks like he's getting sucked back into it. It actually mimics Matt Damon because he was recently interviewed. I was watching with I don't remember which talk show he was on, because he's in he was in Oppenheimer, and I think it was may have been Kimmel says, well, didn't you say you were taking a break from acting for a while to spend more time with your family? And he goes, yeah, but my wife knew that and she agrees because she's a movie person too, that if Christopher Nolan ever calls, that was sort of his call pass. If Christopher Nolan ever said, I want you for a part, he was allowed to take it without her coming down on him.
That's his hall pass.
Yep.
That's funny.
Well, here we are 23 minutes past the hour. You know what that means?
Is it already that time? Oh yeah.
Hey.
Wade.
So I like the I really like the photography and the it was pretty cool having the raceway at the airport also. Got a little bit of airplanes mixed in with it. And I think the story went well. I mean, like I said, I don't know exactly how everything went, but it was very entertaining. So I'm gonna give it what the audience gave it and give it a 98.
98. Woo!
An audience score.
Zoinks a Rooney.
I think that's what Reagan said she would give it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she can give it if she wants.
Well, she's not here right now.
So that night we went to watch the movie. She drove, and on the way home, she drove really fast.
To be fair, she always does.
Yeah, but she was even more race mode on the way home.
Yeah. She puts in a soundtrack, and if it's the right one, she's way too fast. He taught her to drive, not me. So I enjoyed this movie. It was funny because watching it this time, I felt differently about it. I thought that this looked different before. And then Reagan and I were talking about it, and she said, well, we went to the theater. And I'm like, we did? I didn't remember. And I said, well, that makes a lot of sense because it seemed very odd, like not as bold to me this time watching it on TV. So that must be true. I must have gone to the theater to see it. So, and I remembered seeing it. I didn't remember some of it. I love Matt Damon. People think he's kind of ubiquitous. I don't. I think that he can take on a different character and not be Matt Damon. Maybe some people disagree. So I really like him.
Didn't confuse Jason Bourne with Carol Shelby?
Well, I have not seen Jason Bourne that I know of. So I might need to start watching some of those. Well, it's hard to tell
maybe you saw it.
Maybe. It depends on, what Wade has put in the DVD player over the past 15 years. So I don't know. And
you think of him as Private Ryan?
Yeah, he's Private Ryan.
Different guy.
Yeah, he's different. Some
Good
like
Will
Tom
Hunting.
Hanks is starting to become Tom Hanks as. I don't see him embodying his characters as much as I used to anymore. So, but Matt Damon, I do. I liked seeing Lee Iacocca, not the real one, but it made me laugh knowing, hey, I knew him. I know his face. It was a good movie. It was well done. I thought they told a story that may or may not be fictionalized in some areas, but that's how a lot of it is. And having Wikipedia at your fingertips to find out that's not how it happened, you got to go with the flow. I think that the actors they had did their parts really well. That guy who played BB, I wanted to punch him in the nose. So I think I'm going to give it a 94.
94. Woo.
94. Let's go. Why did this happen? Oh, there it is. Let's go over to Dave.
Cool.
The cursor disappeared.
I appreciate you picking this way because this is one I had wanted to see, but just had never taken the time out to watch.
Yeah, that's good.
I really enjoyed it. The performances were top drawer. I mean, you can maybe nitpick a few things, but I think the casting overall was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I thought when Bale when he's driving in the car and they have the scenes with him in the car going, "Oh, some more of that, please," and "Oh, there's the way he was talking to the car and to himself while he was driving just really got you inside of his head, really sort of got you behind the wheel in a way that was really fun. I enjoyed that a great deal. The villains were well enough. Well, Henry Ford II, I felt, was well enough developed. You sort of got the idea. You knew who he was. He was a guy who'd grown up as the grandson of Henry Ford. He'd been in this wealthy family his whole life. He'd been in power his whole life. He was used to getting his own way. Even after he was forced to retire at mandatory retirement age of 64, from what I read, he basically ran the company from the shadows until he died. One of those kind of things. And I thought Iacocca was a really well-formed, fully three-dimensional character. BB was a little two-dimensional. He was just sort of the pencil-pushing villain who runs a company by a spreadsheet kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he was effective in that role, so I don't mind the casting of it. He was just probably the least fully fleshed out character amongst the main players. The wives were both, despite not having a huge amount of screen time, fleshed out very nicely, and you felt like you knew who they were, which was very well done. I didn't feel it was too long. I think it was. I'm glad it wasn't longer. I think they could have outstayed their welcome with much more. And I can, as I said, I can understand why some people might think it a little long. I enjoyed every minute of it. So it had a few things that weren't perfect because movies never are. But I really enjoyed it, and it's a solid 90.
90.
All righty. Amanda, Las Vostra Grasa Bruta Fabrico.
Yeah. It's your big ugly factory.
The family show.
Yeah.
Unless Scott's on, then it becomes a potty mouth.
Yeah, so this was a fine movie. I think it got better after the first 45 minutes, which was nice. I felt like the middle of the movie I enjoyed more because that was where there was interesting character development, and it wasn't just a bunch of cars racing. And the first half hour and then the final hour were mostly just a bunch of cars driving around, and there was interesting stuff around it, but there was way too much of just similar to the movies that you watched that were just look, there's another airplane taking off. It was another look, there's a car and it's going fast near another car. It's okay, cool. So it was fine. I definitely found myself looking away from the TV and forgetting that I was watching a movie at parts. But it wasn't bad. I enjoyed understanding the Italian, but that doesn't really give the movie any benefits. But it did improve my enjoyment of it. I'm going to give it an 82.
82.
All right. We don't have anybody in the comments that has given a score yet. Waiting for Adam. And my mom, I know, watched it.
Oh, very
Ma, you're listening? Hello?
It is interesting too. This came out in November of 2019, so this was sort of the last wave of big movie releases right before COVID hit. So it had a chance to fully stretch its legs on the big screen, and then everything went boo.
I'll tell the story about my hat later, but it says
okay.
2 good laughs.
Wade likes
It's a cool hat. I can't wear it to the airport though, because then people keep thanking me for my service. And
Yeah.
Service, so.
They did that to me at Disney World. It's oh, come on.
I don't want false valor.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, my mom. There's my mom's score. I was surprised I enjoyed this movie as much as I did. I give it a 95.
Woo!
So when this came out pre-COVID, my Cars and Coffee group got a free screening of it at the local theater, and they forgot to invite everybody, and including me. Like a bunch of the older guys that are retired didn't invite any of the young guys that have jobs,
Ah,
and I could have snuck out for I worked from home 1 or 2 days a week even back then. But it actually was the day I wasn't able to see it. So I did go see it in the theater and loved it. And then I watched it, I think, on an airplane a second time. And so this was number 3. It's a really good movie. Just even if you don't like cars, it's a really well-acted action movie with a good story.
I'll agree with that statement. Although most of the time when you guys say you don't have to like sports to like this movie, I totally disagree with that. But I will agree with that about this movie. You don't have
to. You don't have to be a car person to love this movie.
Minimally enjoy this movie.
Yeah,
give you that one.
And
give you that one.
Yeah, I did not go see it with Rafi, which probably would have been like he'd be whispering, oh, "That's not right." That's not right.
Yeah, I wonder how many fabricated GT50 or G40s and Ferraris they had to
sold
make
a bunch of them.
Yeah,
they actually sold. There were some that went on the auction block that were from the movie of different cars that they made, because most of the cars, all the cars they wrecked were replicas. Obviously, they're not going to wreck a real one. But I think this is just, and I agree with what Stacy said. Matt Damon has become, the movie Air, where he plays the guy from Pittsburgh, whose name I'm forgetting.
Man, I forgot he was in it.
Dapper Dan.
Yeah,
exactly. He's becoming these characters.
Yeah,
and then Ben
Affleck. Ben Affleck is Ben Affleck, but Matt Damon is always somebody different. So, and he's become even better. I'm going to actually just agree with my mom here. I think it's a 95.
Wow.
And we're still waiting for Adam, but while we wait for Adam,
you can hear that I ended up at an 85. I think it's a good movie. This was my second time seeing this. The first time I know I enjoyed it more than the second time. The second time I was like, how am I only an hour into this already?
Yeah.
Like, holy moly, we got a long way to go. But I did enjoy it. It is a very enjoyable movie. It's certainly something that I'm happy to have watched once. I'm not sure I will be watching it multiple times again. But I can't deny the way it's done and the way the story is laid out is very entertaining. So, yeah, it's very enjoyable. So there you go. 85 from me.
I want to say that one of the things that I enjoyed, but understood, was when is his name Miles? I don't remember anybody's name. Christian Bale's character, when he's working Reagan, when he's working on the cars and he's putting stuff together and he's dirty and he's eating his lunch. That was my dad. My dad's dirty hands at work, and the guys who worked for my mom, watching them eat their lunch, and I'm like, but watching it in the movie, I'm like, that's a real thing.
Yeah, I remember the same thing. My dad's employees.
Yep.
Rosenberg's Auto Recycling, where my dad had Leonard's Auto Supply in there. You'd go in the back, and the guys were eating their lunch with their greasy hands.
Yep, they did not care.
Yeah, greasy.
Here comes Adam's score. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm not sure what that means, though. I was at an 80.
And now it's a 5.
Wait a minute. There might be more.
Yeah,
I was at an 80.
And then...
the Will Ferrell cameo. Then I... But I did like the scene where they introduced Miles' character, where he's dealing with the guy who has his car in being serviced.
Yeah.
And he's telling him about, basically, so you're telling me I don't know how to drive my own car.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic. All right. I think, it is an 80 from Adam. There we
go. Wow, this might be a really high scoring.
This actually is
if 80 is the lowest score you get from anybody, then yeah.
Unless somebody comes along and takes it away, I think this might be Wade's highest rated movie.
Yeah.
Of all of Wade's movies. Look at that. Coming in on the GOAT.
Star Trek, too.
Sorry, look at that. Right the top first column movie.
Nice.
Reading out, this is Spinal Tap, and Star Trek The Wrath of Khan comes Ford versus Ferrari. Just couldn't beat out Die Hard.
Oh, yeah, figure.
But pretty darn close. Very nice choice.
Thanks.
Loved by all. How about that?
Let's see if Dan can live up to that.
Yeah, Dan.
All right, so
Oh wait.
First things first.
Wait.
Oh,
It was all somewhere in time.
oh, I see what you did there. All right. I thought you didn't have time to make one. Did you just make that while we were talking?
You guys were talking about the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's talent. Well, first, so this hat, I don't know if I told the story, but Bruce McBroom, who took the picture of me that's on all my promotional stuff right now, who also did the Farrah Fawcett poster, who also did the last picture of the Beatles, who also did Mr. Saturday Night. And the back of this is Mr. Saturday Night. And that was going to be my movie, but it's not available online. It's like purchase only.
Oh.
Which I did grab it for $12 on Amazon, or $12.43 or some weird number, and I watched it over the weekend.
$12 to rent it, or did you
to buy it?
Oh, okay.
You can buy it only. You can't rent it.
Wow.
So then I thought, well, do we want to do it? Do we want to do a screening party? I said, I don't want to do that. I want to pick something everybody can watch in their own time when they have a chance over the next week, and I also have to fly, so it's gonna be next Tuesday. So you have a bonus day, but I am going to pick. I believe it's available on Prime.
Oh, there it is.
And Adam mentioned it last week. WNBC. I am picking Private Parts, the Howard Stern story. If you liked Ford versus Ferrari, but you don't like cars, you actually might like this movie without liking Howard Stern.
Yeah, do you have to like Howard Stern to like Private Parts?
You don't have to, and you might come away afterwards going, actually, it's not. This isn't that bad.
Oh, well.
I know a lot of people that Howard's career actually changed after the movie because he started interviewing A-list people. If you listen to him now, yeah, there's still some of the crap that he does with the disgusting people that he has on the show. But normally, he's had Madonna, he's had Paul McCartney many times. He just had Billy Joel. I mean, he gets huge acts now that he interviews.
And then, yes, he did. He predicted that's what it is. And he already has a score.
But the Howard Stern movie came out when I was really trying to get into radio big time. And it's I think it came out right before I left for Orlando, if I'm not mistaken. I saw it in the theater in Pittsburgh. So I do recommend it highly.
Brian?
Oh, Brian's here.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah. Hey.
We'll see if the score goes up or down.
Oh, we watched the Ferrari one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just finished it. Me and my dad were watching it.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Did you love it?
And
I liked it. I liked it a lot until I didn't know the ending part. Like.
Well, it wasn't real. It wasn't real. It was partially real.
Did they really cross the finish line together like that? And then the dude got
very close. Yeah, they actually tried to somewhat cross it close together. Yeah.
It ticks me off.
But they knew about it though.
Yes,
that's the thing.
Yeah, he did. He wasn't.
And
surprised.
Brian, just so you know.
Yeah, he knew that when he crossed the finish line that he hadn't won.
Yes. In the movie, they made it seem like he did.
They had to make it more of a Hollywood ending.
Yeah.
And then showing him I don't know.
Dying.
Yeah.
He did die.
He did die 2 weeks after. 2 weeks after he died in real life.
2 weeks after. That's just rotten.
Yeah.
Well, it sucks.
But it's just it makes me mad. Like the corporate kind of we can buy whatever we want to and do whatever we want to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
But as a movie,
Yes, I mean,
How was the
It was-
acting, the directing, the cinematography?
Well,
yeah,
It,
because the
it
Big
was
Short is
it
not
was
much
well
of a
done. I usually don't like Christian Bale, and I was
Me
like,
neither.
yeah, it was well done. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, he's very likable.
Do you have a score?
I just watched it, so I haven't even thought about it.
yeah, that's fine. You don't have to.
What did everybody? I didn't get to see what everybody
Let's just
else
say
said.
that Adam was the lowest score at 80.
Okay, yeah.
That's Adam.
I'm thinking like in the 90s, but it wouldn't be like above some of my other 90s. But so like 91, 92, something like that.
You
That's
basically
exactly what
almost
it scored.
What
exactly hit
movie
the
you rated
average.
at?
Yeah.
So what's your dad's score?
Is your
I
dad
didn't
want to get in on it?
He just took the dog out, so I have no idea.
What did the dog think of it?
The dog hated it.
I bet the dog
Not a
loved
movie
it.
for dogs.
Wanted to chase the cars.
Well, we're usually not Ford or Ferrari family either,
Yeah.
and like, through the
Most people aren't Ferrari families.
Nobody's going to be doing this show anyway.
we were like, well, Lee Iacocca, he did Chrysler after,
Right.
you know, many years after. he went to work for Chrysler. Wait, didn't Shelby too?
Yeah.
So, we were saying that we thought it was
Shelby Daytona.
Iacocca was fired from Ford. I mean, it wasn't even a case of leaving or something. It's just Henry Ford II fired him.
Yeah. So
And they turned out great Mustangs in the late 70s.
well,
That was Iacocca's baby.
we didn't. Yeah, we don't. I don't know. We like Chrysler stuff. Dodge. That's our thing. But
Mopar.
it was racing. You know, we're like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's watch this, and
Yep.
we enjoyed it. Yeah.
Excellent.
What's the name of the company now? What the corporate entity that owns Chrysler?
Atlantis.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that weird name.
That was Chrysler.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Stellantis. It's clutch radio.
Chrysler, Ram.
Stellantis is Chrysler, Ram, Dodge, Jeep, Fiat, and Alfa Romeo.
So Fiat bought Ferrari. So when did Fiat then divest themselves of Ferrari? I wonder.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
If Stellantis might still own part of it.
I looked real quick, and it was Fiat Chrysler that divested from Ferrari. So it was after they.
Oh, okay.
Didn't Fiat buy Chrysler? I thought they were the main.
Pretty share at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, Fiat bought Chrysler after
bought in.
they Mercedes left them because it was Daimler Chrysler for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then Ford has had an investment in Mazda for decades.
Mhm.
So that was the thing with Henry Ford II.
Yeah.
He really was. I mean, and pretty much all the big three fell into this trap of the boring cookie cutter cars that all look the same.
Yeah,
You know,
easy to make.
yeah, we've got a Chrysler and a Dodge, but other than the colors available, they're pretty much the exact same car. Oh, we've got our Buick and our Chevy and our. It's like,
Wow.
It wasn't until the oil
Here's who
crisis
Stellantis owns.
and all of a sudden the imports became
That's
so
right.
attractive that they had to shift gears rapidly.
Lancia, Maserati, Opel, Peugeot, all not available here. Vauxhall,
Mohall, yeah.
Vauxhall, whatever. The good thing is, because of where I work, I get 1% under factory invoice to get one of those cars. So I might actually get an Alpha or a Dodge plug-in hybrid as my next car in September when my lease is up.
You might get a Maserati.
Yeah.
No, those are big
No.
POS.
I know they're total money sinks. Yeah.
Yeah. They're good for 2 years. If you get a 2-year lease, you're fine.
Yeah.
After that, don't own one. Anyway.
Anyway,
So
Why do
private
you look like
parts,
Fabio?
that's what his hair looked like.
But I'm
Yeah,
looking at
There's
his
a lot of
face.
backstories to this. And by the way, this is a Paul Giamatti movie too. I mean, Paul Giamatti, this is his breakout movie. He is amazing in this movie.
Okay.
I have never seen the movie. I'm not a Howard Stern fan. I don't dislike him. I have found him a lot to put up with. I like a lot of the stands he takes, but when I hear him talk, he just is like fingernails on a chalkboard to a certain degree.
Well, wait till you see this.
I'm sure it'll be
Okay.
interesting.
Just watch it with an open mind. There's a little bit of crude and nudity and stuff. So Stacy, just do that if you have to. But I mean, Howard plays himself. Fred Norris, who's one of his sidekicks, plays himself. Robin Quivers plays herself. They're all unbelievable actors, considering they're not actors. They are. And there's a point where Howard is in college, and he's playing himself. He's like, "Come on, you have to suspend disbelief at least a little bit here."
Okay.
Because he's being himself in college when he's in
He's
his
way too old
mid-40s.
to be playing as a college student.
Yeah. But I don't think you can argue he's changed radio. I mean, the guy's just turned 70 and he's still on the air and he's still a huge audience.
Wow.
Well, hopefully he doesn't.
And the
turn
interviews,
into
like I
Larry
said. He doesn't what?
King. Hopefully he doesn't turn into another Larry King who can't let go.
Oh, I think
No, I don't think he will. He's in good. You never know. He's immature. He's
Yeah.
immature. All right.
No, I
So
think
that's the movie.
He'll work.
It will
till
be
we drop.
Tuesday. It will be Tuesday, which means Brittany might be able to join us.
That's
Yeah.
true. That is very
She's always
true.
working on Mondays.
Yeah.
All right,
So
so
now
now
I'm gonna go. I finally got a Monday off. What's our movie?
I switched to Tuesday. What's our movie?
Well, so now we need to choose who gets to pick the double feature that we'll watch in 2 weeks. Shall we do that? We should do that. All right, Adam got to choose the last double feature and the only double feature so far for this season. So we will now go to the
You
wheel.
don't have my mom's not on there.
Oh, that's right. Sorry about that.
And Reagan voted tonight. You can put her on there if you wanted
I
to.
can put her
If
up.
she's willing to be here for it.
Well, that's the question.
Oh,
Yeah, I wouldn't put her on.
Let's not put her on there yet. And let's give this a shuffle. And I think I got everybody. I think I got everybody.
Scott's not here tonight, so I guess he doesn't get it.
Yeah, no. You got to be.
Sorry, Scott.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
gotta play with
go. And we're off. And choosing our double feature for March. That honor goes to
Dan.
What's happening? Dan, what?
Yes.
My
Good.
goodness.
I mean, in theory, I shouldn't get it. I shouldn't get three movies in a row.
That's totally up to you if you wanna put yourself.
Can I push it to April and have you respin, and I'll take April?
All right, you can have April.
All right. I want to take April. Let's respin. Take me off the wheel.
All right.
A movie to be named later.
And a
Two movies to be named later.
Yes.
You have a
All
whole
right,
month to figure
so
out.
I'm gonna give this another shuffle.
Maybe Mr. Saturday Live will be available. Mr. Saturday Night will be available by then.
That's possible. All right, I'm giving it a spin now. For
There's
March,
only one season. How can it be Mr. Saturday Night
we
Live?
get even further ahead down the line. This honor goes
Wade.
through. There it is.
So Wade gets to pick 3 movies.
Someone gets to do 3 in a row.
Row. Not in a row.
Oh, that's true. We have next week off.
He
Yeah,
gets a
Okay.
week
Right.
off.
We have Howard Stern separating us from Wade's movie.
There you go, Wade.
So 2 weeks until we find out what Wade picks.
Okay.
No, we got 1 week till we find out what Wade picked.
Yeah.
Right, but 2 weeks till we watch.
Oh, we have to
That's
watch
right.
what
We're a
Wade
week to
picked. That
choose.
is correct. Now you got it. It's so
And
good.
Adam says he got back to back to back. That's
Yeah,
true.
he
You did.
did.
He did, yes.
You know why?
I'm
Because he
choosing
didn't
not
get
to do it.
anything for so long.
Yes.
Since
Absolutely.
we're only going to have 6 days to watch your movies, Wade, don't make them crazy long.
Yeah. True.
Oh, you're no fun.
We're watching The
no fun.
Irishman
Oh, boy.
and Once Upon a Time in America.
I like that movie. That was
I do
good.
too, but it's a little long.
Yeah. I was actually contemplating that one.
All
I
right.
didn't tell Stacy about it. But
We'll do
I
it.
have no idea.
We'll do
Moving
it.
along.
We'll do it full-
It's everybody's favorite part of the show. I love that's true or not. I have no data to back that statement up.
Yeah.
Well, what is everybody else watching?
we watched Red Notice.
Nothing? All right, good night.
Hey, see you, Mike.
Good.
We
What'd you
watched
watch,
Red
Notice?
Notice the other night. It was pretty funny and it was
Yeah, Red
watchable.
Notice, that's Netflix. That's
Yeah.
what's her face?
What's his
Yeah.
name?
Gal Gadot, Rock.
Right.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, it's a nice one of those ones where you go,
Neither
one
is
of those
Dakota
ones where you go, I'm
Johnson.
paying for this service already. This is not a bad little add-on.
Yeah, it wasn't
Like
bad.
Six Underground or any of those, the Ryan, whatever, I forget the name of the other movie. Madam Web has been getting the most ridiculously low reviews. Currently has a 16 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, Dakota Johnson actually came out and said she's not watching the movie as a form of self-care.
Fair.
Oh, and Oppenheimer. I have not yet sat.
Oppenheimer. We have Robert Downey Jr. up for an Oscar.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
13 nominations overall for Oppenheimer.
When are the Oscars?
So there's a guy that can act. I didn't think so
March
back
or
when
April.
Leslie
10th,
Zero was
March
on.
10th, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's coming up soonish.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is one of the finest actors of our time.
Yeah,
I
but they were in the late '80s. I wasn't too sure about him.
Well,
Well,
he
he
was
almost
snorting
felt
coke
this-
off of Hooker's butt,
Yeah.
so back then it wasn't as,
He's like one of these guys that
If it was
almost felt
available, I guess.
destructed, but he managed to come out of it in time.
yeah.
How do you say it in Italian, though?
So one time in
Piece
college,
of cocaine.
I was in a sociology class, and we were watching these films about social experiments done in schools, and it was filmed by Robert Downey Sr.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Makes a little sense.
Yep.
There is a special on Netflix that we started watching that we haven't finished, which is Robert Downey Jr. interviewing his father.
Oh, that's
no.
cool.
Oh yes,
So that's on
So
Netflix.
it's really good. I watched the first little bit of it. It's really good. But,
Okay.
you know,
Well, I'll have to
it's in
watch
black and white. If that helps Dan at all.
it. And so are his movies.
Overexposed. Adam's been watching the original Star Trek.
So,
How far have you
so
gotten,
we-
Adam?
You might have to watch it backwards.
Have you gotten to the pain that is 5 yet?
did we do 5?
No, we didn't get to 5.
We only did 4.
Oh, you don't want to do 5.
We did 3.
5 is the Shatner
I've been
directed
watching-
one, and he cannot direct.
The newest season of True Detective with Jodie Foster. It's more of a sci-fi mystery. It's not just like the first 3 seasons were. Well, this one's kind of a spin-off, really. It's created by a different person, but it's based on the True Detective series. But it's really good. I've also been watching Arrested Development again.
Go figure.
Yeah.
I know. I just keep watching it. I love it.
Wow.
I'm in season 4 of that.
That's funny.
We went to see Migration before it left theaters. It was okay.
Migrated out of
It
theaters.
was far from a classic, but it was enjoyable. Wow, Adam.
5 is more watchable than the motion picture.
Wow.
When you say the motion picture, you're talking about 1, correct?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Yeah.
I would kind of agree with that.
1 is too long, but
Yeah.
5 just is awful.
Yeah.
I watched them all
I
during the
waited in line
pandemic,
for
back to
that
back to back.
If anybody would
I
like
don't
to
know
come to my house, we're watching the live version of this.
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, "What? Look what Eric got."
we could watch another Charles Grodin movie.
That's right.
Oh,
Exactly.
gosh.
Eric, you are Charles Grodin.
I am Charles Grodin in this scenario. Yes, that is correct.
Crazy.
It is.
I think we know. I know 2 people now with those big fluffy dogs. I used to want one when I was little. They had the little barrel. She doesn't wear a barrel, does she?
I did 3D print a
For
barrel
Halloween,
for
right?
her.
I just remember them from the cartoons. The big
Yeah,
Saint
with a
Bernard.
barrel so they can
Yes.
full of whiskey or what
Yes.
or what have you.
They were medical dogs. Oh my!
And if you ever lost in a snowbank,
Yeah, I'll be all set.
Yes, you
I'll be
will.
all set.
So, how'd you choose her name?
We did not. She came with this name. She'll be 2 in May. So,
Yeah, okay.
so we decided that we would leave her name as long as it wasn't something absolutely terrible, and it wasn't. So, her name is Kayla.
It's just weird because like I said, I've got 4 people I work with that name, and I could not name my dog that.
No. Yeah.
well,
I
that's
thought
when
it was
people
funny.
just. There was a discussion on one of the talk shows recently a few months ago about naming your pet with a person's name and how you walking outside going George,
Yeah.
George, get over here. You know?
We had Henry, and Dora, and Darla, so it happens.
When we got Mabel, her name was Allie. But Becky's got a cousin named Allie. We have a friend named Allie here locally. And she just didn't look like an Allie. And she was about a little over a year old when we got her. What's that?
Was she more a Kate?
No.
Kate
She wasn't a McBeal. I almost said McBeal. We almost changed the name to McBeal. But we went with Mabel.
On to her new name?
Oh, yeah. She knows Mabel. She also goes by Moo and Maybelline and May. She's got a bunch of names.
Yeah.
But Mabel's her main one.
Schizophrenic.
My dog was
but Mabel is from the TV show Mad About You. That's what they named their daughter.
Yes.
Because it stood for Mothers Always Bring Extra Love. MABE.
Garofalo was in touch that you've named your dog after her.
Yes, and Carol Burnett's the one who came up with the name. So
that's right.
There you go. At least on the show.
Yeah.
We've had a bug, a rascal. We pick all the dogs.
Those are both scooters.
Yep.
Dog names.
We had a princess once. So yeah.
We had a rascal, a roundabout.
I don't know. We don't choose the human names usually. Human names go to cats.
Yeah, that's
Diane.
There's my cat, Steven.
Diane, you get off the counter.
Yeah. We have a Katie and we had a Jackson. So
Darla, Henry, and Frank, and Boo. Boo's the only one who had a normal cat.
I remember where it's from, though. It's from a Conan O'Brien podcast. He was doing a live podcast, and he had an audience member ask, if we have a name that we've already given to our dog and we decide to have a baby, can we give the same name to the baby? And Conan was like, no,
that's weird.
I guess it was their favorite name, and they've already used it for the dog. They still wanted to be able to use it for their child when they were born.
And get rid of the dog. Wow.
People be crazy.
All right. Well, look at that. I think we might have done an hour show tonight.
Wow.
Just like that. We're so
It
efficient.
was tight.
Anybody have anything else they want to share before we are planning a game night here sometime soon, and stay tuned. Next week, Dan and I will each be bringing a genre for a March movie, and everybody gets to vote in which genre we will use for March. So there we go. So prepare yourselves for the mad.
I forgot to finish.
Yeah.
There's more to the story of the hat.
Oh, and now
the
rest of the story.
Page 2. So they were filming on Culver Studios, and it was Castle Rock, same company that Rob Reiner owns. At the same time, they were filming A Few Good Men, and all the people from A Few Good Men got hats that said A Few Good Men, and they looked exactly like this. And Bruce McBroom decided it would be funny to go out and order identical hats that said A Few Good Laughs, and then Mr. Saturday Night on the back. And so he bought all these hats for the whole cast and crew. So this is an actual hat from back then. And it's so old that the phone number, it's a new era hat made in the United States.
Wow.
Which doesn't happen anymore.
So Billy Crystal has one of those hats, is what you're saying.
Yes, he does.
Or at least he did.
And this hat has makeup in it. This was a worn hat, and he said he's not sure whose hat it was. It wasn't his, but somebody that was on screen wore this hat because there is a makeup band right underneath her. So it's a cool hat.
That is a very cool.
Yeah, unless it's Billy Crystal's makeup or Helen Hunt. Maybe Helen Hunt wore it.
There you go.
Maybe Jerry Orbach.
Yeah.
Maybe Joel Silver. Not Joel Silver.
Can I keep listening to the cast of
Ron Silver.
Long John Silver.
Fish.
Arthur Treacher.
Dinner. I have to go get dinner. I have to feed my dogs. All right.
Well, in that case, let's not hold Dan up.
Yeah.
All right. So next week, Tuesday night, Oh, Dan's holding. There it is. Tuesday night, we will gather together to discuss private parts. Dan's private parts will be on display next Monday night. No, next Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Can you shrink the screen a little smaller?
Wow.
WANBC. I can make it bigger.
We might finally understand.
No,
Now I
cold
can shrink
water.
it. There you go.
If the weather's really cold, it would be different.
There you go. There it is. I don't understand the reference, but we'll find out.
You will when you see the movie.
There you go. All right, everybody. We'll see you next
All
Tuesday.
right.
Good night. Bye.
Goodbye.